say are some lessons learned from week 1 to now?
There's plenty all the way around. I think each position group could probably give you a handful there. For us, I think it just goes back to consistency. I think we're doing some things better. I think we've seen some improvement. Unfortunately, it hasn't necessarily shown up every week on the scoreboard, but I do think we're making some progress. I thought coming off the byes, we were doing a better job of taking care of the football, particularly at the quarterback position. We just got to be more consistent in our execution. I feel at times we're clicking, we're moving the football, we're doing some good things. Early in the year, we had some issues with some red zone, finishing down there, and then last game it turned out to be a little bit of third down stuff. So I think it's just getting that consistency all the way across the board and putting it all together.
With the run game and the O-line, we saw the Iowa game and Michigan game that looked completely different, and then the last 2 games haven't been able to replicate that. I mean, is there anything you can boil that down to when you're looking at the film?
Yeah, I think a little bit you got to give some of the defenses, credit-wise. I know Indiana a lot of people had trouble running against them. They do a lot of movement up front. I thought in that game specifically, we struggled with a little bit of the movement and some of the stuff the looks that they gave us up front. And then last week, just inconsistent with it. Too many negative runs. I thought in the first half we were able to get some stuff going with Aiden pulling the ball in the run game, that we're able to hit some explosive plays, but just missed assignment here, getting beaten a one-on-one situation here. It's just not good enough, and we've got to get that part of our game going. Have to help take some pressure off a young quarterback and our pass protection.
With Aiden, where have you seen him make the most strides this season so far? Now that you've had about 10 games.
Yeah, I think first off, just the decision-making piece. I think he's doing a better job of taking care of the football, particularly when things break down, or maybe something's not there. They get us in a coverage that we weren't expecting. Things are covered. I think he's being smarter with the football, whether it's tucking and going. Let's see, the other piece I think he's getting, we're really working on him, is just being consistent with his footwork, and then his negotiating the pocket when things break down. Some subtle movements to where he's able to get to number 2 and number 3 in the progression. I think early in the year he was bailing a little bit early at times. It's kind of a fine line with an athletic guy like him, because he'll get out there and make some plays with his feet. But I thought last game particularly, it was really good to see him. 1 wasn't there, and he actually got to 2, 3, and 4 in the progression at times, and I just think that's pretty cool to see. That growth in a young quarterback, where sometimes we're getting behind in the game, we're having to lean on the pass game and the protection. Just it's tough at this level to be consistently with a lot of the pressures and stuff like that, and we've got to improve there. But I think he's shown improvement in the pocket.
Do you feel like the Iowa game, in retrospect, I mean, it looked like it was a possible breakthrough, but in retrospect it now seems a little bit like an outlier, or just kind of an isolated event? I mean, is there kind of some, I guess, regret that you guys haven't been able to harness the momentum from that game?
Yeah.
The enthusiasm that really came from the fan base even after that game.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. I mean, we were pretty excited there. I felt like just the group's confidence to kind of get it clicking and being able to finish some drives and move the ball most of the night against a really top-tier defense. I thought that was really good. I thought our guys were pretty confident coming out of that game. And then, I think just haven't executed the last 2 weeks as well as we'd like. And again, I got to give credit to Indiana and Illinois. I think those guys are 2 pretty good defenses, and they did some good things to kind of throw us off balance a little bit.
When you're not able to run the ball with consistency, and that's protection issues. I'm wondering from your standpoint, when you're calling the game, how difficult is it to get in a rhythm? How many things you are second guessing? I don't know if we want to go to this. Like, just how hard your job is.
Yeah.
And not everything is there for you.
No, it's a big part of our offense. We want to be balanced, and like I said, it takes pressure not only off your quarterback. It makes things easier for him, but it takes pressure off the line. Not having to constantly protect that way, and when defenses make you one-dimensional like that, it can be tricky, especially at this level with some of the different looks that you're getting. So that's a major point of focus. And I think in that Iowa game, really in the Michigan game times, we were running the ball pretty well, and it was like, man, you're able to keep the defense a little bit more off balance. they're respecting the play action a little bit more, and it just makes life easier on the line. Makes it a lot easier to call.
How much of that is a numbers situation? I could be wrong on this, but it looked like Illinois was playing with one safety up in the box a lot, one deep. I think I counted 2 times when they had 2 safeties deep that he ran tailback in gain of 8, gain of 6. So when the numbers were about equal, it was productive. But teams, is it a situation where the numbers?
A little bit. Illinois was a little bit unique because they kind of they're constantly showing you a single high safety and with an extra guy down there, and then sometimes it'll turn post snap to a 2 high look. So there was some times where we were able to get him in that 2 high look and get some runs. And that's definitely an advantage that way. But I felt like even with our quarterback being able to pull the ball, sometimes we've still got to be able to run versus a single high safety nowadays because so many people are playing that. And I feel like we can. We just got to. We've shown that we're capable of doing it at times. We're just not executing at a level consistently enough right now.
There were some pass protection issues, of course, but improvement at left tackle and pass protection in this game, would you say?
Yeah, I think to the whole group, I think there was some, you could go back and say, man, you could pull some pretty good reps, like, hey, this is a really good rep, there's some growth there, and then maybe a couple where it's like, shoot, that's just, to me, goes back to the consistency and as a whole group, not just on the offensive line. I felt like times there was great protection and we didn't execute, maybe went on the outside or we missed the throw or we were in the wrong spot with the ball. Likewise, it's like we went on the route and then we were getting beat maybe up front with a twist or something like that. So we just haven't been able to put it together. Kind of that stuff that we're doing early in the year where it was 10 guys doing it right and 1 guy not, and that's just bad football at the time. So we've got to get that cleaned up, be more consistent. But I think the left tackle, yeah, you could go back. There's some pretty good reps on tape that we can build off of.
These last two.
How long as a new play caller, Brian, does it take you to get a sense where you feel like, all right, I have a full sort of grasp of the personnel? Like, I would imagine that takes a couple games. I don't know if you're still in that process to some degree, but how long does that sort of take typically? And where do you
No, it definitely takes into the season. By now, with this group, we feel like we've got a pretty good handle on it. I think it's one of the things we've, particularly coming off that first bye week, was wanted to use Aiden in the run game a little bit. And early in the season, we were a little hesitant on the number of hits we wanted him to take and expose him that way. But he showed to be able to, pull it and create some explosive plays that way. And then I think that kind of Nick Marsh growing, there's someone there that, early in the year we were a little unsure how a true freshman was going to do, and he's shown that he can be an explosive player at this level. And so trying to move him around a little bit and do some things to feature him, and then still trying to figure out with the offensive line exactly, hey, what are we, which type of run schemes are we better at in certain situations and stuff like that. And we're still working through that a little bit with some of the personnel that we've had to kind of move around.
How important in these last 2 games, obviously, the chance to get a bowl, but also show growth in what you guys have. And
yeah, no, it's huge. I think that the guys realize we're just playing this one this week, but I think it's got plenty to play for, especially the guys that have been around here, the senior group. It's a big deal to be able to get to a bowl game, and all we can do is focus on this week and go and get a win this week. I think the guys have responded. I think we've had good energy, last couple of days of practice, and they're excited to get back out at home with the opportunity to go get a win on Friday night in front of a good crowd.
Because everything starts up front, how much is the line an off-season project for you guys? With looking ahead in the future, just to kind of improve that area.
Yeah, I think we've got to get better in that area, and I think that's something that we'll address. We're addressing it now, but I with the recruiting deal, but I think it goes a little bit of like, hey, we've got to develop and build off some of the guys, particularly some of the younger guys in the group that we have. Those guys have got to show improvement, get stronger, and then assessing exactly, okay, hey, these are the holes and some of the things maybe we need to address through the portal or with in our recruiting class. But it's an area that I think you can say multiple areas that we want to address and try to improve on.
You got one more from Steve.
You mentioned Nick Marsh. I wanted to ask you about him. I don't know if you subscribe to this idea of like the freshman wall where you play early and then kind of plateau. It seems like hasn't really applied to him. I'm wondering if that's something you feel like you guys have sort of nurtured him through to continue to keep him on the ascent, lead deep into his first season, or if that's more of his makeup or just ability.
Yeah. No, I think
continuing to sort of grow through the late season.
I think it just goes back to Nick. I mean, he's a great kid that's hungry to grow as a player, develop. I think he's gotten a little taste of that success and wants more of it. But he's got a high ceiling, and he's a guy as a freshman that, man, I've been really impressed with his practice habits, and yeah, hopefully he continues to build off it. But I think he's going to have the opportunity to have a pretty special career here.
We'll wrap it up with one more. With Aiden, there's the pressure he sees in the field, but there's also the pressure of being a starting quarterback at a Big Ten university off of it. And I'm curious how you've seen him handle that pressure this season, especially with a span of 6 losses in the past few
Yeah.
games and handling that.
No, I've been impressed, and that was something going through the off season that we had talked about a little bit. Is like, hey, he hadn't started a game, and it was coming into a new program year one, and I knew there was going to be some ups and downs, and he got, rightfully so. He's a talented player, highly recruited guy, and had some success a year ago. So we talked about it a little bit, but I've been really impressed, man. I feel like, and I know it's weighing on him a little bit, because he's a social guy, and he's on his phone quite a bit, and that stuff's important to him. But I'll give him credit, being able to kind of weather the storm and just kind of stick to his process. And it can get down a little bit as a QB too, especially statistically or not, especially early in the year, maybe the interceptions were a little high and whatnot. And I just told him, hey man, at the second half of the season, I really want to see you be the most improved guy on the team. You know what I mean? And all you can do is go to work every day and just focus on your game and improving. And I really think that he's just kind of kept his head down and kept focused and tried to work on improving. I do feel like I've seen growth in him in his improvement, particularly after that first bye week, which I think is a credit to him, and hopefully we can keep building on that the rest of the season, take that momentum into next year.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.